Welcome back to another episode of the Trade Ball Podcast. I'm your host, Ethan, and I'm joined by my co-hosts, RJ and Jalil. Y'all say what's up to the people.
Yep. What's good?
It's good to see you back again this week, Jalil. Glad you're off the injury leave, off the IR, if you will. But it's good to see you back. And we do have, if y'all didn't notice, we do have a guest today. He's one of my personal friends. He knows the game very well. His name is Zach. Go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit, Zach.
Yo, what's up? I'm Zach. I live down in Houston, Texas, and I just chill and play basketball. So, yeah.
Yeah, and what's your favorite team, Zach?
Milwaukee Bucks for Eastern Conference, and Western Conference, we got the Dallas Mavericks.
Fair enough.
Okay. How did you become a Bucks fan from Houston?
Back whenever I was really young, whenever I was 4 or 5, I first started watching the Bucks play games, and if I remember correctly, whenever I was 8, Brandon Jennings was just absolutely cooking over there. So I really fell in love with that, and then it's been the same since Giannis has been there. I'd say I'd probably was one of the first people to sort of say that Giannis was probably going to do good, but I wasn't 100% for sure.
And I can't stand by that because I've known Zach since, like I said, I've never really met. I met Zach from playing 2K and on 2K17. So we met in 2016 online, and we've known each other ever since. Real good friends, and I can't say that that's when Giannis started coming on the scene anyway, but he was always a big fan of Giannis from that point on. And yeah, so he's a good basketball mind. We're going to have him on today. And we have a couple good topics for y'all today. Before we get into it, make sure y'all like the video for us, subscribe if you're new, comment down below. Just helps the algorithm, helps us get these videos to more people, and it costs absolutely nothing. So it'd be greatly appreciated. And go over to our Instagram and our TikTok. Like our videos over there, follow. We got short related content over there that you might not necessarily see over here on YouTube. So that's always good as well. Without further ado, fellas, let's go ahead and get into this first topic. Why don't you launch this off, RJ?
All right, so the in-season tournament has just ended. And
yes.
I just want to know y'all's thoughts. I know there's a lot of people that are up and down about it. Nobody really knows how they feel. So I just want to see what y'all are thinking. And Zach, why don't you start us off? I want to see what you got to think about it.
So for the in-season tournament, I got page pulled up over here, but for the most part, I find it very, very interesting. There's a couple of things that really popped out to me, for example, the rise of Seguin from the Houston Rockets, which was very, very interesting.
I got you.
Yeah, I don't really know how to say his name that well, but very, very interesting. I thought it was very, very odd that it happened during the in-season tournament. But another thing that I thought was very interesting was the New York Knicks becoming a wild card and making it into I think it was quarterfinals, if I remember correctly.
They making it into the group stage.
Yeah, that was a good game too.
Mm-hmm. So I'd say those were probably the two most interesting things for me, at least.
How do you feel about it overall? Do you think it's a good thing for the NBA, or?
I think it's a good thing. I think it would be a bit more interesting if we're doing it to where it's for draft picks towards the end of the season. This one could be for play-in spots for obviously the playoffs. But I think something at the end of the season for the lower 8 teams on one side, the lower 8 teams on the other side. And then it's just a play-in tournament to who can get the best draft picks. Now, I do think there needs to be some balancing with that. We can't just throw a number 8 seed against a number 1 seed of the lower ranked teams, because we clearly can tell that number 1 seed was wanting to make the playoffs while the number 8 seed had no chance. So we need to do some balancing so that number 1 seed has to face an equivalent opponent at least. So then it gives the lower ranked teams a chance to get a higher draft pick, to say the least.
Right. I think that's very interesting. I think as of right now, I think they'll probably keep it the same as far as the money goes, because what we saw was they wanted it. Adam Silver did what he wanted to do. He wanted there to be competitive playoff-like nature in December, in the first half of the season, because for the most part, some people, a majority of people actually don't care as much about basketball until after the All-Star break. They care the first week of the season. Then after that, a lot of people die down on watching until after All-Star break, because that's when playoff race starts going. You got the trade deadline, all that stuff, right? But for the most part, these are very competitive, except for a couple of blowouts and stuff at the very beginning when they were still in group play. I think they can do a lot better with group play. But as far as the rest of it goes, like the quarterfinals, semifinals, finals, all that, I think it was outstanding. It was playoff-like atmosphere, playoff-like games, and these players wanted to win it. That was one of the big questions: are the players going to want to win it? The players wanted it, especially you think about guys like the Lakers just won it. Congrats to them. But yeah. But I hate it just as much as you do, RJ. But I saw like a graphic on Instagram where a couple of the two-way guys, their salary literally just doubled for the season because of this. So like a lot of these players are going to want that, are going to want to win this thing, right? That's life-changing money, $500,000, and we don't think about it as much for those lower tier guys as we do the star players, but the players wanted it, and I think they have a lot to fix and to do. My biggest complaint with it is the point differential. I know Jason Tatum complained about that too, which I feel like that's such a high school AAU type of approach to take to it. I know you have to do something because some teams are going to end up being tied somehow, right?
They tried to do like the soccer type of thing where we're like a goal differential, but it's so much different when people are scoring 120, 140 points. Like you can't do goal differential and when there's that many points being scored. I feel like there has to be some sort of like a tiebreaker aspect or something like that. It felt very elementary.
It just leads to that game where your Celtics, when they were playing against the Bulls and blowing them out, and then Haka, Shaq, and Andre Drummond when y'all are up almost 30. That takes a little bit away from the game. I feel like, and I feel like there's definitely better ways to go about it. But for the most part, for me, I really like the in-season tournament. I love the Pacers. We've all been big on the Pacers this season, at least us three have, and they were so fun to watch. I really wanted them to win that last night, and I think, without a doubt, Tyrese Halliburton would have been that in-season tournament MVP. It's just it sucks to see them go out. I'm sure we were all rooting for them, but it is what it is, and I think the NBA has started to accomplish what they wanted to accomplish to it, and I think the fans are starting to get behind it because it's something interesting to watch in December when usually December it's not as interesting. So what do you think about it, Jalil?
I really like it. I think I was telling RJ this back in like 9th grade, 10th grade or so. Like you look at soccer, right? European sports, how they have these mid-season like tournaments to different cups, it brings a certain kind of intensity, right? Yeah. So where games on a regular Wednesday or Thursday wouldn't matter at all, right? They now matter. And you look at the Lakers, for example, to me, from what I've seen, where the Lakers kind of struggled at the start, they built like this kind of like chemistry and bond to where if they've looked, not going to say champions, but they look really good right now, right? Over the past, like throughout the tournament and the games they played. And then I think it gives teams like the Pacers, who you might not be playing for a championship. I mean, you say you are, but it's low likely. You get the chance to technically win your franchise's first ever title. And so like you were saying, RJ, it brings like a really interesting dynamic, and I would like to see it. I would like to see 2 tournaments if it's possible. Like Zach was saying, possibly one later near the playoff, or where the bottom 5 teams of each conference play for lottery spots. Right, that would be cool to see. But I'm glad the NBA finally adopted it because the WNBA already has it with the Commissioner's Cup. So I'm looking to see how it progresses in years forward.
Yeah, I think the that with the plan for the lottery odds, I find that interesting. I just find it difficult because I don't think we'd be able to do that, at least until we have expansion teams. Because we see how competitive. I mean, if I look at even if we're not doing like the bottom 8 from each or bottom 7 from each conference, if we were doing the bottom 5 from each conference, right? The bottom 5 in the East: Toronto, Chicago, Charlotte, Washington, Detroit. And then bottom 5 in the West, you got San Antonio, Portland, Memphis, Utah, and Golden State, right? like I just feel like no matter what the matchups really are, I feel like Golden State is almost walking through a lot of those teams,
Yeah.
And then on the East side, I feel like, Toronto and Chicago, more so Toronto, is going to be a lot better than, these other teams like Washington, Detroit. They're not doing anything. Neither is the Spurs. Probably not Portland either.
Yeah, that's why I don't necessarily love the lottery tournament. It's because the teams that really need the first pick just end up getting fucked again because they're not going to be able to win. They're not going to be able to win games against, like you said, like Golden State. Like Golden State, if they get put in a tournament where Detroit, they're competing against Detroit and other teams like that. It's just, there's no. They're going to win.
Yeah. And it's crazy because it's like the lottery odds are already different nowadays. They have been for a while to where, like last year, for example, I know 2 years ago Detroit had the number 1 pick, but last year they were one of the teams that was supposed to get one of those top spots. I ended up getting the 5th pick,
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like teams can already fall, and having the worst record doesn't mean you're going to get that first pick like it used to, So it's like it's interesting. It would be very difficult for them to figure out a way to do it. I'm not opposed to it. It's just it would almost have to be like a little mini like 6-team tournament or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like it would have to be something very, very small because I could see a world where if it's the bottom 3 teams from each conference, like right now currently, Charlotte, Washington, Detroit, San Antonio, Portland, and Memphis. All the teams are kind of on the same level, but Memphis also has a star player that's about to come back in like 4 games. So, out of those 6 teams, I feel like a healthy Memphis would walk the dog on everybody too.
Yeah.
And if that's happening at the end of the season, they're going to be fully healthy. So I don't know. But it's definitely interesting to see. But I think, like I said, as far as, the full in-season tournament goes, I like what I saw, and I'm looking forward to it again next year.
Yeah. One thing before we move on, I got to give a shout out. I hate shouting this guy out, but Anthony Davis played his ass off. He was showing his ass yesterday. Play like what we expect to see out of Anthony Davis. Most of the time I feel like we look at Anthony Davis and say like, oh, look what he could be. But yesterday, I feel like we saw what he could be, and we rarely see that. So shout out to him.
You got 40 and 21?
Yeah. So,
that was crazy
one of those games. But the thing is, go ahead,
RJ.
Oh, well, I was just going to say, like, only thing about this is, like, how long does it take, LeBron and AD to get back on that level? Because, like, you can't play that hard every night. And they played as hard as, like, it was a playoff series. And, like, does AD, LeBron even got a little banged up, right? So, does LeBron sit out a couple games? Does AD sit out, underperform a couple games? I'd like to see how they recover from that.
I think so.
On. Yeah,
I think that's exactly what happens.
Go ahead, Zach.
I do want to say, sorry, I keep on interrupting. I do want to say one thing. Julius Randle did have his first 2020 game during the in-season tournament. Yeah, he had 20 rebounds and 5 assists on the Hornets. That's something interesting. I think we're starting to see the New York Knicks actually start to like blossom into a pretty good team for the most part, but I don't think that they're going to become playoff contenders with just Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle there. I think they need like maybe one more star player or at least someone who can hold their own. I'd say equivalent to like Kevin Love or something like that back on the Cavs, where it's like you're getting...
Not Kevin Love now, but like somebody like that caliber. That's what you're saying?
Yeah.
From back then?
Yeah, because if they get that, they could be a really good playoff contender in the
East?
Eastern Conference. So I will say that
kind of leads us into our next topic. While we're on them, do you think they would be able to get out of the first round?
Last year they had a Cinderella run, right? They made it to the second round, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and they got stomped by the Heat, though.
And they got stomped by the Heat.
I could see it again. I could see them getting out of the first round. I think that teams that would clearly or very easily make it to the championship, in my eyes, are like Celtics, Bucks. I could see Denver Nuggets. The Suns, most definitely not, even though they have all that star power. It's looking like they're starting to sort of like not really distance themselves, but like play separate games all within one game, if you understand what I mean. Like similar to, if you remember back whenever Cleveland was playing with Kyrie, LeBron, and Kevin Love, they would do ISO ball, and they'd basically have one person bring it up one time, next person bring it up the other time. And they wouldn't really run offensive sets unless Kyrie was on bench and LeBron was in, or LeBron was on bench and Kyrie was in. So it was more of like a flip-flop type thing. And that's sort of what we're seeing with the Suns right now, where it's like KD's coming up with the ball, or Bradley Beal's coming up with the ball, or Devin Booker's coming up with the ball. We're not really seeing them actually work as a cohesive team or cohesive unit, in a sense. More just one player do one thing.
I think that's also like almost due to the same thing we saw in Brooklyn. They just haven't played a lot of games together. I mean, Devin Booker's been having some nagging injuries. Bradley Beal's played, I don't even know if he's played 10 games yet.
Not 10 games.
Yeah, and not even close to 10, I don't think. And then KD's played, I mean, a considerable
KD's
amount.
Been playing very good.
Yeah. But it's one of those things, like, the more they play together, I feel like they'll look more cohesive, right? But again, like, they're all aging stars, and like, just like Brooklyn did, like, if you're going to keep putting aging stars together, I mean, when do we get to the point where it's like they're too old to play more than, 30 games together? Then when you get to the playoffs, it just doesn't work. You have to have a body of work. You have to have played together. So I think it's interesting when you look at a team like Phoenix, like how will they adapt, and once they get to the playoffs, and will they have played enough games together?
Yeah. That leads us to our next topic. As far as, like I said, as far as the in-season tournament goes, I think we all agreed it was a W. We all liked it, and we're looking forward to it next season. But moving on from that, our biggest portion of the podcast today is going to be, if the playoffs started today, who wins in each round. So I figured how we could do this. We could just break it down round by round, and we could all predict who we would say would win. Just break it down round by round and see. So we can go ahead and start in the West.
We're going with like the current 1 through 8, or
well, actually, I was about to say
let's start with we can do the play-in too. Let's start with the play-in.
Okay.
On each side. So and that, because that'll lead us eventually, we'll be able to talk about those Suns again in the Knicks. But we can start with the play-in on each side. So we can actually start on the West. We'll start with the West play-ins, and this leads us to starting off with the Suns, like we were just talking about. So the 7-8 matchup, Phoenix and Houston. So me personally, I think I'm going to pick Phoenix. I think Houston still they're at least another year out. They have, they've been playing great basketball this season, but I don't think they're a team that's going to beat a Kevin Durant or a Devin Booker in an elimination game. Not an elimination game, but a game to advance to the playoffs. So I'm going to go Phoenix pretty convincingly there.
Yeah, I got to agree.
Yeah. Phoenix got to be there.
Same. So we're all in agreement with Phoenix moving on?
Yeah.
All right. So next game is going to be the 9-10 matchup, and this one I feel like is a little bit more interesting. We got the Clippers and the Pelicans. So I'll let you start us off on this one, Jalil.
It should be the Clippers. It should be. But in an elimination game, I could like visualize it to where it's in that final stretch of the game. PG, Kawhi, and Harden sitting there looking at each other like this. Don't know what to do. ISO for 5 minutes, and the Pelicans going to run and win the game. So it should be the Clippers, but it's kind of tough. Since on a 3-game win streak, I'm gonna go with the Clippers.
Okay, I'm gonna go Clippers. All right, this is how I stand about this. All right, I'm gonna go with the Clippers for obvious reasons. Of course, everybody knew I was picking them, but the Pelicans have been playing great basketball too. But the Clippers are also, we're 8-3 in our last 11. So we've been playing decent basketball as well. Ever since I started tearing them apart and going in on them, they've started bringing it together. Kawhi's looked great in the past 5 games. Just had another 40-piece the other night. He's looked really, really good. And the Pelicans were also looking good enough. Obviously, they were in the semifinals in the play-in. But I also do have some questions in the air about them, because I feel like, health is usually what we, relate to the Clippers, but Pelicans haven't been healthy either. They're a team that's never been able to be healthy. They just finally got everybody back, but I still worry a little bit about that. And then seeing reports just a couple of days ago about Zion Williamson, and the Pelicans still having issues with him trying to stay in shape. So I'm going to go with the Clippers because we have the star power, and I never really want to count out Kawhi in an elimination game, me personally. Now, you can take what you want with that, but that's 2-0 right now. We're going majority rules, by the way. We're doing this as a collective. So, well, what you got for us, RJ?
I feel like both teams fully healthy. I have to say Clippers, but is that realistic? Let's be honest.
I don't think it's realistic for either team fully healthy.
I mean, Zion doesn't show any signs, really. I mean, he had a little tweak earlier, but obviously he's always one funny jump away with his weight and athleticism. B.I. has been pretty solid, I feel like, across his career. I don't think he's had anything too scary. You know, and I think other than that, like everyone else has like I want to say a shorter injury history.
Though.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's getting older. I mean, yeah, but that's fluky. I feel like that's
it's the second time it's happened though.
It's the second time it's happened. All right, well, that's not good. But I don't think it's gonna keep happening. You know,
I hope not.
But if I had to say, I would have to agree with Jalil, and not agree with him because I'm gonna pick the Pelicans. But I can actually see this happening. They're just sitting there isoing, miss shot.
I can see
Zion
it.
Gets some
transition. Watch this
team
every game.
You know, B.I.'s hitting some threes. You're getting some good defense out of Herb Jones. You're getting some steals, leading to some
Kawhi.
Exactly. I can visualize this happening.
I can see it.
And so, with that being said, I got to say, in a very close game, Pelicans win that one and send the Clippers home.
I think it would either be it would have to be a close game for the Pelicans to win. I think we either blow them out or the Pelicans win close.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Zach, what about you?
I'm just going to go ahead and preface it. Pelicans, I think, purely based on the fact that we're forgetting that CJ McCollum's on that team. Yeah. We have CJ McCollum
from this season,
Brandon Ingram, and Zion Williamson. Now, if they're all healthy, obviously, the Pelicans should lose. Like 9 times out of 10, they should lose. But if we're thinking about this objectively, right, the Pelicans probably have, I'd say, a better chance of winning the play-in and making it into the playoffs, purely based on the fact that, one, we haven't really seen, like, on the Clippers, we've obviously seen Russell Westbrook take a step back and say, okay, I'm going to go on the bench. I'll come in, get our rebounds, assist, whatever, right? But we haven't seen Kawhi, PG, or James Harden, one of those three, take a big step back like Russell Westbrook has. They've sort of stayed very similar. So then the question becomes is, how can you manage that in a game where it is playoff atmosphere, win or lose, loser goes home type scenario? And if I'm being 100% honest, it's going to be very hard if someone doesn't take a step back. And I think the person that needs to has to be James Harden. If James Harden takes a step back, I'm pretty sure we're going to see the Clippers thrive fairly easily because they were doing really good without him.
We were. During
the bubble season, if I remember correctly, before Russell Westbrook showed up, they were thriving without Russell Westbrook, James Harden. Russell Westbrook shows up, and then the bubble hits. They do horrible in the bubble. Then Russell Westbrook shows up. They were starting to get their chemistry together, and then injuries happen. And then they can't really perform fully. So it's like
your years mixed up, Zach.
Oh yeah.
Which year are you talking about?
The bubble.
Talking about last year?
No, not last year. I'm talking about the year beforehand. I think
the year after the bubble.
Yeah, the year after the bubble, because
Russ last year.
Because I remember Russ. Did Russ come last year, or did he come the year before?
Russ came last year.
He was last year because he's on the Lakers.
Yeah, because. Oh yeah. I'm mixing up my years.
The bubble year, we choked. The year after that, we played really well, and then Kawhi got hurt. Then we had a year of injuries.
Yes.
And then last year, we still have a year of injuries, but not as bad. That's when Russ shows up. We played really good, but we're still middle of the pack. More injuries, we get out of there.
Yeah. So I think this year, if we're including injuries, I'm pretty sure Clippers will probably beat New Orleans, but if it's fully healthy, New Orleans wins pretty easily.
Yeah, I think I think in a 7-game series, it would be no question the Clippers. I think in a single elimination game, I don't trust the Clippers that much. Which isn't single elimination, but because obviously this is the 7-8 matchup. Or actually, no, I'm sorry. This is the 9-10. This is the single. Yeah, this is the 9-10. I'm sorry. This is the single elimination. So we're split 2-2 now, though. So how do we do this?
Who moves on? Flip a coin.
Okay.
All right.
Got a coin
Call
on deck.
Out, Jalil.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, we didn't say which one was which.
I didn't even flip it yet.
I know I'm saying heads or tails, like which one's which?
Heads or tails,
Heads for the Clippers, tails for the Pels.
All right, bet.
Heads.
Not eating your UGG. Your UGG. All right, okay.
All right, Clippers move on. Thank God. All right. We can move on to the plan out east, and let's try to speed this one up a little bit.
No, we gotta finish. We still gotta finish the plan on the other side.
Clippers Suns.
Clippers. No, it would be Clippers. Clippers Rockets.
You're right.
Yeah, I think we all know the answer to that.
I think we're gonna. I'm not gonna explain why. I'm gonna go Clippers.
Y'all don't know what I might say. I'm like, nah, fuck that shit. I'm gonna have to go Clippers.
We're gonna all go Clips.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. So we got playing out east then. 7-8 matchups. New York and Brooklyn. What a game! New York and Brooklyn. I can let you start this one off, RJ. I gotta think about this one for a second.
Hold.
I feel like we see like two different Brooklyns. Sometimes you look at Brooklyn, you got Cam Thomas going, you got Mikal Bridges going, you got a lot of these other guys going, and you say to yourself like, they look like they can, muck some stuff up, make the game, make the playoff picture look a little different. And sometimes you look at Brooklyn and you say they have no identity. They don't have a great scorer, right? They have Mikal Bridges, but he's not gonna, I don't think he's one of those defenders that you funnel everything into. You can't just base your defense off of him.
2024 NBA All-Star Mikal Bridges.
Like, does that move the needle? And then I think as far as them playing New York obviously has the defensive identity being coached by Tom Thibodeau. And I think just in a single game scenario, who I can depend on to be more dependable and who I can be confident to win one game, I'd have to go with them, just the Knicks, just because I feel like when it comes down to it, they're just one overall better, and they have a guy who I feel like, and Julius Randle, who can be that guy going down the stretch. Plus their defensive identity and their ability to, at times shut teams down. Like I've seen them make the Celtics look bad before, and especially in that we played them in the first game of the season. And it was to the point where it was like, without some big shots down the stretch, they beat us. So I'm gonna have to go with the Knicks just because they're overall just way more well-rounded, I'd have to say.
I'm gonna flip it on its head. I'm gonna go with the Nets, actually. And because of that guy that you mentioned, Julius Randle, I don't know how much I can trust him in a single elimination. Well, this isn't single elimination, but in an elimination game between going to the playoffs and not. And you do have the other guy on the team, Jalen Brunson, who I can trust, and I have a whole lot of trust in. He would probably be the best, one of, if not the best players on the court. But from what I've seen from Julius Randle, and the tendency of shots he likes to take, it can be one bad game between them losing that game. And from what I've been seeing from Mikal Bridges past couple weeks, we've seen from Cam Thomas so far this season, they can, like you said, they are a team that can either look like a really, really good team or they can look bad some nights. But the New York Knicks, they generally look good, but who's supposed to be their best player at time, he's supposed to be their best player, can really just disappear a lot. So for that reason alone, I'm gonna mix it up and go Brooklyn. I do think it can go either way, but I'm gonna say Brooklyn for this one.
That's fair. It's definitely a toss-up.
Yeah,
I think it could go either way, but I'm gonna go with Brooklyn as well. Pretty much because I hear my dad's a Knicks fan. I hear him complain about it all the time, and I think Ethan said it. I wouldn't be surprised if Julius Randle have a 3 for 13 kind of game.
Yeah,
and in that one game,
he's taking more than 13 shots. I'm gonna say 5 for 20 game.
No, that's nuts.
Yeah, and then it'll still maybe a close game, but I'm gonna take the Nets.
Or he could drop 40 and they could blow the Nets out. It could happen, but that inconsistency worries me. But what about you, Zach? Is this a deciding factor? We're 2-1 Nets right now.
So my question is Cam Thomas gonna play? We've seen the Brooklyn Nets organize. We've seen the Brooklyn Nets
right now. He's healthy.
Yeah, but we've seen the Brooklyn Nets just pull him randomly, occasionally. Like there will be some times where he's healthy to play, but Brooklyn will just pull him and say, "No, you're not playing," or we'll see him play fully healthy and drop 40 points. So it's like the question is Cam Thomas going to play? And then not only that, but if Cam Thomas is going to play, are we going to be getting one of those nights where Cam Thomas is 17 points with like horrible shooting splits, or 40 points with crazy shooting splits? And then
that's a fair argument.
So it's like it's a battle of who's going to fumble the bag. And if I'm being honest, the person that's probably going to fumble the bag is the Nets. I feel like the Nets will probably fumble the bag, and we'll see the New York Knicks move on pretty easily.
Split again. I think Jill already got the coin.
All right, so I guess Knicks heads, Nets tails.
Or that flip. Tails.
Right. Wait. No.
We got Nets. Alrighty, so we got Nets moving on.
Okay.
So that leaves the next matchup being your Miami Heat and Atlanta Hawks. I think what is not even a lot to talk about here. I don't really think. I'm just going to say Miami for my sake. The Hawks are very mid, and the Miami, they always show in the playoffs. So
yeah, Miami's just going to, again, some guy some homeless guy, they're going to find him. Atlanta is going to drop 35 points, hit 6 threes, and they're going to, yeah, it's over. Yeah.
Jalil?
I'm going to go Miami. Jamie Jacques Jr. is going to go like 7 for 10 from 3.
Yeah.
In the first half alone. So, yeah.
Same for you, Zach?
I'd say Atlanta, but if I'm being 100% honest, I can see Miami just absolutely stomping them into the ground. Yeah. I think the reason why I'm
shooting 2 for 25 as well.
Yeah, so. I think the reason why I'm saying Atlanta is because we've seen Trae Young turn up in the playoffs pretty quickly, and there's been times where the dude has absolutely dusted teams that he has no business being in the remote conversation with. So I can see it happening.
Yeah. But then again, last year, Miami locked him up. So.
Yeah.
But we'll say Miami. We 3-1 it, so we'll say Miami. And that moves on to Miami versus New York. That's actually pretty interesting. In the elimination game to get the 8th seed. What are your thoughts on this one, Jalil?
Miami, Jimmy Butler with a little 30-piece. Yeah. I said it I think maybe first episode. The Heat, they always find a way. So
they do. RJ?
I'm deep in thought. I don't. I'm
gonna go New York.
You going New York? All right.
I'm going New York. This is going to be the year where the Miami finally don't make it, and we don't have an 8th seed to ruin all everybody's brackets and every. No, I'm tired of it. New York.
I honestly don't want. I would hate if the Celtics are able to continue being the 1 seed. I would hate to see either of those teams first round.
Really?
I would, but I'll say I would especially hate to see the Knicks first round. So I'll just based on what I want to see, I'll say Miami wins it. And,
all right. And use that?
I think the problem with me is the mismatch, right? Like so we got Jimmy Butler on obviously we're gonna put Jimmy Butler on Jalen Brunson, right?
Probably.
We got Bam Adebayo
or RJ
Barrett. Yeah. If RJ is doing good, but who are we gonna have? Like
Bam Adebayo and Julius Randle.
Yeah, so it's like a question of who's going to win the dogfight. And if I'm being honest, I feel like the Knicks probably will pull through later on. Like if it comes down to like a fourth quarter close game, New York has it. But if it's like we're talking blowout, it's the Heat by a long shot. So I'd say Knicks.
Is it tied up again? Fuck.
It's tied up again.
Fuck. Heads or tails, Zach? Heads or tails?
Let's go heads, Heat, tails, Knicks.
All right. Heads.
We got the Heat moving on.
So Heat.
Okay, so that makes the Suns the 7th seed, the Clippers the 8th seed, the Nets the 7th seed, the Heat the 8th seed. So, with that being said, we can start actually moving through the rounds. Starting off 1-8 Boston Heat out east.
I'm sorry, Jaleel, you're ugh, bro. Your Ravens are butt anyways, bro. You don't have to get into it. No. Oh my god! All right, keep going. Ethan.
So we're gonna start with the East. We're gonna start first seed being the Celtics, 8th seed being the Heat. I think we're gonna go. Can we decide Celtics on this one? Group effort, say Celtics.
Yeah. Season 4.
Celtics.
Yeah. 5. Jimmy Butler. Okay. They'll get a homeless guy to hit 8 threes. So I'll say Celtics in 5.
Celtics moving on. We'll go 2-7, being Orlando and the Nets. I think I'm going to go Orlando myself.
Yeah,
Orlando's been playing great basketball. They're the 2 seed right now, so very interesting. But we'll go Orlando with that one. For me, what about y'all?
Orlando. It's looking tough in Orlando right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. 3-6, Milwaukee and Cleveland.
Milwaukee. Cleveland's looked a little weird this year. So they look a little funny in the light. I'm not going to lie. Something off about them.
So we all just collectively agree Milwaukee wins it?
Mm-hmm.
All right. 4-5 matchup. Philly, Indiana. I think this is where we actually have to have some discussion.
Indiana. I think they finally break through.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I think so.
I don't know. I didn't like what I saw yesterday. When I saw them playing, it felt like if you can pull Tyrese Halliburton out the equation, even because he didn't have a bad game. What do you have? Like 17 and 10. That's not.
I think he had like. Here, I'll check.
He low-key snapped in the third quarter, but if you can even just pull him back a little bit from the equation, the Pacers don't have enough to fight back.
And we know
also like we saw. Also, we saw like a generational game out of Anthony Davis. So, like, I don't want to, be a little too harsh on him. But, I mean, we saw a team yesterday, in my opinion, that looked like they weren't hitting shots. And, I mean, obviously you got good shooters like Buddy Hield should make shots. But, like, the only person I saw hitting shots was Obi Toppin, which was like, what the fuck am I looking at? But then it's also, it's like, I mean, you pull back their best player and they looked pedestrian. They looked very beatable. And I don't like that about a team that's going to be going against. And also, another terrible thing now that I think about it is Miles Turner like fucking barbecue chicken against Anthony Davis. And then he'd be having to play Embiid. So I think
playoff Embiid.
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like it would still be too much. And when Embiid smells the barbecue chicken on the grill, I don't know. I feel like he just go for the kill. And I'd have to say that. Although yes, we love Indiana, like I think they get beaten like 5 or maybe 6.
What are you thinking, Zach?
Yeah, Tyrese Halliburton had a horrible game during that in-season tournament.
What was
last
his stats?
game up against the Lakers, he was -19 on plus-minus with 20 points, was 8 for 14, 2 for 8 from 3. If I'm being honest, I'm going to have to go with Philadelphia on this one. Because I think
it's tough because theoretically Philadelphia should win.
Yeah.
They have 2 All-Stars this season. Indiana does not have 2 All-Stars, right? And they have pieces around them. Philadelphia should win. But Tyrese Halliburton's arguably the best player in the series. That's crazy to say.
But this I cannot. No, I can't go for that.
Tyrese Halliburton is almost the best player in the series.
It's not even close, Ethan. I think
for this season.
I mean,
Joel Embiid's been having a crazy season too. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I do think Joel Embiid's still the best player in the series. But I said it's closer than we think. I think it's close.
I saw Tyrese Halliburton look like not an average player, but yesterday it looked like a slightly above average player trying to lead a team to win.
But he still had like 20 and 12.
Yeah. I'm not saying obviously he's very good. I mean, right now we're top 3 point guard in the league, but it's also
top
just like
1 point guard.
Top 3 is crazy.
I've heard a lot of people talking about top.
I'm just saying. I have a video. Nuts. I'm making. All right, hang on. I will preface this. I'm making a video today that's going to be dropping sometime this week on this channel. It is going to be titled "Is Tyrese Halliburton the best point guard in the NBA?" I'm a big Tyrese Halliburton fan, and I'm gonna in that video I'm going to make the argument that Tyrese Halliburton is the best point guard in the NBA. Yes, I'm counting Steph Curry in here.
I don't like that. I don't like that.
I'm counting.
I can't. He's get behind that.
I will say he is a great passer, right? But I think his offensive game still needs to take a little bit of a step forward because that shit I saw yesterday was a bit atrocious. He couldn't. I mean, he can get. He's very quick, obviously. He's kind of like lanky, so like when he gets around the hoop, he can finish and stuff like that. But it just didn't look like a player that's. He took 14 shots. We just said. So that's not what you want out of your top player, right? And sometimes he's a bit too passive.
This season, I've been seeing him late fourth quarter take over games.
I mean, they fucked the Celtics over on that shit.
So we're talking about playoffs. We've seen stuff out of Joel Embiid too, and I hope the best that he can step up in the playoffs this year. And what's funny is as far as I'm looking at the MVP tracker right now on a Basketball Reference, Joel Embiid has the best odds right now at 34.8%. Nikola Jokic is at number 2, and he's probably going to drop even more because he's had some atrocious games lately.
Mm-hmm.
And then Tyrese Halliburton has the 3rd best odds right now to win MVP. That's absurd.
I don't hate it. I like that, but I'm just saying from what I saw yesterday, and everyone has bad games, but that felt like one of those games you can't have a bad game. You know, like you can't.
I think I'm going to go Philly because you are right, and when it comes to the playoff that still is not the playoffs technically, but the play-in is pretty much the playoffs. The game slows down. Philly has way too much experience to lose this series. If Philly were to lose this series, we'd be seeing Joel Embiid get traded, I would assume, or the front office change. We'd be seeing a lot this offseason. Yeah. I'm going to go with Philly and say they won it.
Do we think that it's going to go to a 7-game series on that? Because
I think it's going at least 6.
Because I'm looking at this and I'm like, okay, if we're thinking of this in the long run, obviously Joel Embiid's going to have his games and Tyrese Halliburton is going to have his. So then the question is if it gets down to a 7-series game and it's the last game, then who's going to win it? And it should be pretty obvious.
Theoretically, it should be the Sixers.
It should be Philly. I'm going to go. I got to go. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say my question is how does I don't really know how either team guard each. I don't know how the Sixers really guard Halliburton. I don't really know how the Pacers guard Embiid or Maxey for that matter. And that's why I'm going to go the Sixers because I feel like Maxey is I feel like Maxey is the 3rd best player in the series, but I feel like Maxey could end up being the best player in the series if that makes sense.
Yeah,
because I feel like they're going to double team Joel Embiid every possession, and Miles Turner being the primary defender. And Miles Turner was barbecue chicken yesterday. He's a great defender. He's seen to be a great defender. And I feel like Tyrese Maxey can really get off. And I also feel like the Sixers don't really have a matchup for Tyrese Halliburton. I don't think, as much as I like DeAnthony Melton, I don't think he's slowing down Tyrese Halliburton at all. So I think it's going to be a fun series. Probably one of my favorite first-round series, but I'm going to go Philly.
Yeah,
I got Patrick Beverley.
That's true.
No.
Tyrese Halliburton. No, come on, man. Come on.
Come on. No, because we saw Patrick Beverley lock down CP3. We've seen him do it with other point guards across the league.
That's Chris Paul, though. I know that's your boy Ethan, but Chris Paul kind of shitty these days. I ain't gonna lie.
These days. I mean, Tyrese Halliburton's a whole different. I'm so high on Tyrese. Tyrese Halliburton can end up being top 5 point guard of all time, I think.
All right. No. All right.
Whoa, wait a minute.
End up being.
Let's back up.
That's a take.
Obviously, he's not anywhere close yet. He's only like 22.
Yeah, but
that's true.
It's like top 5 that you would take out or could see.
Yeah, that's like people saying Kobe is number 1 in the GOAT debate.
Yeah, I don't know if it's that. Well, what Ethan said is more egregious.
Yeah,
because
that's a bit more egregious.
Who are your top 5 point guards right now, Ethan?
Of all time?
Yes.
Or just right now?
No, like of all time. That's what you said.
I mean, in no order, I probably have Magic Johnson up there.
Steph Curry.
Okay, let's think about the top 5. Magic, Steph. IT is probably somewhere up there.
Stockton, maybe.
God, no, I'm not.
I'm not high
anywhere near the
I don't
top 5
either, but I just figured.
CP3's in my top 5. I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Let's look this up so we don't miss anybody and let you sneak Tyrese Halliburton bitch ass in there. By the way, I love Tyrese Halliburton, but it's just like, come on, man. I feel like.
Oh my gosh, I just typed this.
But
in my Google
I guess I see what you're saying, though, Ethan. Because like, how long? If he puts up these stats for like, I don't know, like 10 years.
I guess 10 years. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, I guess he would be top 5. You know.
But he has to get a ring, though, right? Surely.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but you're not gonna get that shit done in Indiana.
I think he could end up being better than Oscar Robertson. I mean, I think he could end up being better than Russ, Steve Nash, Isaiah Thomas. I mean, like when it comes to the point guards, I mean, like I don't know if he won't ever be better than Steph Curry. I doubt, or Magic. But that's more so championship wise. You know, it's very hard to get almost 5 championships in the NBA. But I mean, like John Stockton, like he's already better than John Stockton. Jerry West. Come on.
Yeah,
well,
that's fair.
Hold up, let's think this out, right? Obviously, we have the top 5 point guards, and obviously, you need Magic, Curry, and those obviously are the key 2 ones. Now, for the 3 other spots, you have no clue who people could say.
It's shot in the dark.
That's true.
He could Oscar Robertson. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The other 3 is very, very. There's only 2 definitive ones. So I'm just saying. I don't think we don't really got to deep dive into this anymore.
Yeah,
but it's very, you know. I'm just saying. One day, you know, it's a bold statement, but one day he could be up there.
Yeah,
but
we got to keep it moving.
We do got to keep it moving. We got Philly at that next spot. Let's go ahead and move on to the next round. So next round would be Boston.
You got to go
Philly.
out west, right?
Keep it in East. Yes.
We can just keep all the way for East.
All right, cool.
Well, did we do the 7 and 8?
We did. We did all the spots.
So all right, so next round will be.
Yeah, I had a moment.
So next round we got Celtics Philly. I'm gonna go Celtics on this one.
Yeah,
I don't think it's even close.
C's win.
Celtics, yeah.
Yeah.
So we got Celtics, and then we got Orlando, Milwaukee. I think we all know who we're choosing right here.
I hate how
I'm gonna go Milwaukee in 5.
It's tough in Orlando right now, though.
I love Orlando right now, but I mean, come on.
Yeah, I feel like I'm letting my love for Orlando kind of make me a little upset. Yeah. I'll say Bucks
Giannis
in 6.
and Dame.
Yeah.
I'll say Bucks in 4 or 5.
Yeah, it is a bit much.
I feel like we got it in the bag, to be honest. That's like an easy sweep.
Yeah, I could see.
And then
that.
we got Celtics Milwaukee. I'm gonna go Celtics on this one, and I just think the Celtics have been the best team in the NBA, so I have to go Celtics. And that's a series. I hope this happens because this is a series I've been wanting to see since it happened a couple years ago. I wanted the series last year. We should have had it last year in the conference finals.
When,
if we're being honest,
it just depends on. In my opinion, it depends on if Dame and Giannis fully figured out, get that pick and roll going, which is the scariest shit ever as a Celtics fan. Because if they ever get that pick and roll going and they really figure out how to play off each other,
but you have the 2 best on ball defenders and two of the best on-ball defenders in the NBA. But Kristaps back there is good, but my God,
yeah, it's a lot coming at him. And then
compared to Giannis,
I think it in the past, like we've shown that we like to play drop coverage, which if you play drop coverage against Steph Curry, fuck you playing that shit against anybody. So I mean, I think I'm interested to see how we're gonna play it. But that's obviously assuming that they do figure the pick and roll out. It just depends on obviously if Jason Tatum can look as good as he's looked, Jaylen Brown can look as good as he's looked, and then I feel like a big matchup in that series would be Kristaps versus Brook Lopez. I'd like to see Kristaps nut up a little bit and play like I know he can play, because I feel like is that gay? Nah, that's not. People say nut up. That's not crazy. Man up. Get the fuck out of here. Anyways, I'm saying like, and then also that can be an advantage because it's not like Brook Lopez is like, he's not like, obviously like, he can move, but like if we can bring him out to the perimeter and let Kristaps use a little bit of his agility and speed to kind of one, bring him out of the paint, and two, get some easy buckets. I feel like we can win that series, but it's definitely a 7-game series regardless. I think it'll be a classic. So I
think it would too. I don't think it'll be as good as y'all series y'all had last time when Chris Middleton was injured, because that series was crazy. The Grant Williams Game 7 series. But, golly. But
I got to say
Celtics. Now, give me a second, Zach. The Celtics, I'm going to pick them for the defense alone because the Milwaukee still have not been the best defensively. And they'll figure out, I assume, they have a generational defender in Giannis, and then they have Brook Lopez, who almost won Defensive Player of the Year last year. So I think they'll figure it out. But just because the Celtics also have 2 generational defenders too, and Derek White and Drew Holiday. So just because the Celtics have it all figured out already, and we're saying if it were to end today, so since they have it all figured out already, I'm gonna go to the Celtics as far as the defense goes.
I'm gonna go Milwaukee simply because this is the best chance Damian Lillard may have at a ring, and I think
that is true.
The best of it.
This is the best chance he has.
So I'm going to go Milwaukee.
Okay.
Zach, I think we know where you're going.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm being honest, right, like if we're looking at this, it is going to be a 7-game series. And I could clearly see the Celtics probably beating us. But I think the problem is like, one, you don't really have a matchup for Giannis, right? So then the pick and roll becomes a problem, because then it's like, okay, so who are you switching on Damian? And then you're now putting your defensive guard on Giannis, who can clearly abuse him. So that's a problem. And then the other problem is it's like, we've seen, if you remember in the Phoenix Suns series, we've seen them try to drag Brook Lopez out of the paint. And they won like 2 games because of it. The first 2 games, if I remember correctly. They would run the pick and roll and drag Brook Lopez out of the paint. So then my question is how are we going to cover Kristaps? Are we just going to stick Giannis on him and hope that Brook Lopez can play whoever else that he's guarding? But then the Celtics will just go small ball. So then it's very, very tough to make a decision. But
I actually do have a good point to make, Ethan. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
We have seen one person give Giannis hell. His name is Al Horford. And I'm not going to say, obviously not going to shut him down. He's not going to shut him down. He's an old ass man. But he has given Giannis some tough times. And I think everyone in here can admit that. Everyone in here can admit that he has given Giannis hell a couple times.
I'd say 2 people have.
Who else?
Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah,
Kawhi that Raptors series.
Yeah, that's true. But I feel like as far as this time, I feel like Al can if Al can play some big minutes for us. Obviously, I think out of any team in the league though, we can send the most bodies at him. I mean, Jason Tatum's a capable defending. Jaylen Brown is.
It's just matchups.
Yeah, I think,
and that's why I think the Celtics would have it.
Yeah, it's going to take a lot of team defense. Obviously, sending a lot of bodies at him, but if we can even a little bit neutralize him, I think we win the series in 7. But it'll be like, again, a classic. I
also just think Brook Lopez gets neutralized because a big part of him is having him in the paint to block shots and having him in drop cover as well. Because, the Bucks always like to play drop coverage too. But problem is, Kristaps is that versatile. He's going to be able to shoot it. This is not Robert Williams anymore, or, somebody else that's just going to be a roller. You'll have 5 shooters on the court at most of the time. So I feel like it neutralizes Brook Lopez a little bit. And also on the flip side, though, even though you do have Derek White and Jrue Holiday navigating those on-ball screens, the Celtics still like drop coverage at the end of the day. And, if you're in drop coverage against Damian Lillard, you know what's about to happen.
Yeah.
So, like I said, that's why it's going to be a 7-game series. I would hope I think the Celtics would make adjustments, and I'm going to go with the Celtics in 7, as RJ did, I'm pretty sure. But I think this is a coin flip moment, right? Because Zach went to the Bucks, so.
All right, let's get it.
Heads or tails?
We'll go heads, Celtics, tails, Bucks.
Tails.
Ha!
I knew when he started laughing. I knew this bitch ass nigga. I knew as soon as he started laughing, he just wanted to troll me.
Fucking. So we have the Bucks moving on to the finals. Now we can move on to the East with our 1-8 matchup, which is the Clippers Timberwolves.
That's so weird saying the Timberwolves are number 1. So weird.
The Timberwolves have the best record in the NBA.
Yeah, that's weird.
I gotta say they kind of wax y'all, Ethan.
From what I've seen so far, I have to say Timberwolves because, like we said, this says if the playoffs started today, the Clippers have been putting it together, but the Timberwolves have been the best team in the NBA so far this season. So I'm gonna go T-Wolves.
Yeah, that's fair.
Without much to say on it.
Yeah, me too. If Ethan's going T-Wolves, you already know what we're doing. So
yeah. So T-Wolves, Zach, for you as well?
Yeah.
All right. That hurts me to say, too. We'll go 2-7, which is OKC and Phoenix. This one's a little bit harder for me because, man, I don't know.
I think we got to think about it like you said. If it started today, I think. I still think it goes 7 because if that was the case, like we would get a couple of games with Bradley Beal and probably probably 4 of the 7 with Devin Booker. I think it would be like a 7-game series, but I got to give it to. Well, also the Thunder. Never mind. We won't talk about it. Also,
not talking about that situation.
Yeah, also, I'll say Thunder because up until today. We don't know what might happen to some of the players, but today, the Thunder.
All right. So we're gonna all go Thunder then.
Yeah. We are. I think we're forgetting they have a Victor Wembanyama on that team as well, on the Thunder. So that's yeah.
Chet.
You mean Chet?
Yeah, Chet. He's averaging.
You said Wembanyama.
You said Wembanyama.
We have like a Victor Wembanyama lookalike. On the OKC Thunder.
I thought you meant
Thunder, and he's more efficient than Victor Wembanyama. So then the question becomes
I thought you were saying the Thunder actually had a Victor. I thought that's what you were saying.
Nah, I see what you're saying.
Do you wish, Julu? Would you rather have Victor than Chet?
No, I like Chet.
Why the fuck is he lying? Why is he lying right now? You don't have to stun. I was just looking at their stats because everyone says like, "Oh, Chet's gonna win Rookie of the Year." That's bullshit, nigga. I don't give a fuck who's more efficient. Who's out there hooping?
I get that,
who's out there hooping for real?
Chet fits our vibe, bro. Chet got the fits. He got the captions.
Man, fuck a vibe, nigga. Who right now?
I'd say if it were to end.
Go ahead.
Chet's the Rookie of the Year right now.
Right now, it's Chet.
No. Rookie of the Year is not one of those awards you give to who's the most efficient and who's on the better team. It goes to who's hooping, bro. It's always been that way. Who the fuck is out here hooping? Bro, Victor is averaging 3 points more.
Isn't being efficient part of hooping?
I guess, but Rookie of the Year is supposed to go to the nigga who out there showing his ass and shit. Bro. Like, I don't know.
I'll tell you this. I said it in the first episode. Chet can have the better season, but if Victor and Wembanyama is somewhat close, it's going to go to Wembanyama.
I think Victor Wembanyama is having a better season. I don't give a fuck.
Wemby's averaging two more points and 2 more rebounds.
How many? All right, look at the blocks. I don't know who has more blocks, but if I had to guess, it'd be the huge nigga. I'll be honest.
They're both huge, though.
Victor's averaging 2.7 blocks a game.
So 3.
Chet's averaging. Wemby's averaging 3 a game. Chet's averaging 2.5.
Call it 3.
Okay. Okay, so who's more efficient? I don't think it's the efficiency's by
Chet
that.
by a long shot.
It is. Let me see. Or what is it? Chet's averaging 37 from 3, while Wemby's averaging 25. From the field, Chet's averaging 52, while Wemby's averaging 43. Yeah, I'm fuck, bro.
I'm taking Chet every day.
Let's not look at things just for face value. Let's have some nuance, and we can all think. If Wemby had Shea to pass in the ball, how would he be doing?
That's fair.
Shay's one of the best facilitators we've seen in years.
Yeah.
Right now in the league, I don't want to say it's Halliburton and then him. Or you probably have Jokic, Halliburton, and then Shea can't be too far behind that.
He's not.
So
I get your point. I'm just saying, as far as rookie of the year, Chet's the rookie of the year. Right?
Yeah.
Well, I gotta take it at face value. I'm not saying now if I was coming from an outside source, I'm a Clippers fan. Would I rather have Wemby or Chet? I'd rather have Wemby for the longer run. But that doesn't mean, like.
Yeah,
I still think Chet's the rookie of the year as right now, and he's contributing to winning basketball as well, which that doesn't necessarily matter as much for rookie of the year, but I think it should matter for this instance a little bit.
I don't know. I also don't like that second-year players can win it, but that's not going to change. So
he didn't play.
He didn't play.
Jaleel, but you're smart enough to realize he was using NBA facilities.
Yeah,
it was in NBA practices.
Like this. If you was a red shirt freshman, you barely even practice. You never touched the field.
Okay.
You mean to tell me that second season you should athletically count as a sophomore? No. You a freshman.
But I think if I redshirted, if I went to college and redshirted, I shouldn't be able to win a freshman awards. Like I shouldn't be able to win rookie of the year in the conference. That's fucked up. Huh?
You have redshirt freshman All-Americans.
That shit's bogus, man. They've been practicing. It's different from like an 18-year-old perspective, especially because I just played my sophomore season. Nigga, that shit is so different. I'm so much better as a sophomore than as I was a freshman. It's like night and day.
But so Wemby was playing professionally though. So you have
but it's not the NBA though.
Not at all.
I don't care, bro. It's one thing. Victor Wembanyama went from playing like French niggas and like other like because like I don't think he was in the. All right, bro. I don't think the league he was in over there was like he wasn't in the Euro League. It's not like he was playing like the best competition outside of the U.S. To Chet, who was practicing, it's not like just because Chet didn't play in the games, I mean he wasn't practicing. He practiced and was around NBA and saw like pro habits and shit for a whole year. That shit don't count, bro. I think I feel
like that's an argument for another day.
Yeah, we might have to change the question of the day. Nah, fuck it. But yeah, we don't have to get into it next series because I feel like this has been dragged.
We got OKC. So next series we got Dallas and Sacramento, which is a very good series.
I'm gonna go Sacramento because Kyrie's gonna miss some time if we started today.
Yeah,
that is true. Kyrie's gonna miss time, so I'm gonna go Sacramento as well. De'Aaron Fox is an MVP candidate as of right now. So
is he really?
Yeah,
he is.
Yeah, this season's been
De'Aaron
insane.
Fox. I'm just gonna give him a shout out really fast because De'Aaron Fox is averaging. Let's see. I'm pretty sure he's averaging like 30.
Yeah. It's like 28 or 30.
He's averaging 30 and a half, 5 rebounds, 6.5 assists on 48% from the field, 37% from 3. So
yikes.
He's having a crazy season. An all-NBA, crazy part, it's not even all NBA first team type season, but an all-NBA season.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna go with Kings on that.
All right.
Yep, so majority rules there. So that will move us on to the 4-5 matchup, which is Lakers and Denver.
Denver.
We said as of right now.
Man, and we play that bitch right now. Anthony Davis will have a fucking he will miss some games after how hard he played yesterday. So yeah. Nah, I'm hating. But I gotta go.
Let me look at the injury. Well, technically nobody else is on the injury report as of now. Except for none of the main guys are on the injury report anymore. So in that case, I'm going Denver.
Yeah, Denver by a long shot.
Yeah. I'm already outvoted.
We've seen what they
Lakers. Yeah.
Yeah, we've seen what Denver does in the past. We haven't really seen Lakers in the more recent years perform. We've seen Denver perform in the more recent years, so I gotta say Denver.
All right. So that moves on to round 2. Wolves, Denver.
Denver.
This is tough, actually.
Timberwolves. And I really hate to say that, but I feel like Rudy Gobert could fuck with Jokic at least a little bit.
Oh,
and
man,
then if you look outside of that, I hate Rudy Gobert too. If you look outside of that, who name the next best players in the series?
Anthony Edwards.
Give me Anthony Edwards.
One's Jokic. 2 is probably Anthony Edwards. 3 is probably Cat. Because Cat's on 50, 40, 90 this season.
Yes.
Wait, what about
4 is probably Jamal Murray.
Yeah.
Jamal Murray's not better than Cat.
Jamal Murray's not better than Cat. I feel like we're missing someone still.
I'm going to go T-Wolves.
I got to go T-Wolves, man. I feel like, yes, we
I feel like 4 would be Jamal Murray, then 5 would be Rudy Gobert.
Yeah. And that's close.
Jamal
Murray's having a good season.
Jamal Murray's 4, Rudy Gobert's 5. Then we'd have MPJ.
Gordon.
At 6.
Aaron Gordon.
Or Aaron Gordon. So we'd have 6 and 7 controlled by...
depth too. Because the Timberwolves have another 50, 40, 90 guy, Naz Reid, who could win 6th Man of the Year this season.
Yes, he's been hooping his ass
They have more depth. Their defense has been a bit better. Best defense in the league, actually.
Mm-hmm.
It pains me to say, I'm going to go to the T-Wolves, bro.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to the T-Wolves beating the Nuggets.
As weird as it sounds, I have to go with them. They played some really, really, really good basketball. And also,
you went
got
Denver,
Anthony Edwards,
right?
who's like a killer, you know.
And last year, the biggest competition the Nuggets had was the Wolves.
Yeah.
Rudy Gobert, even though everybody talked about that one clip to where Rudy Gobert says something to Jokic, and then Jokic's like, brother, I have 42, or something like that. But for taking that at face value, the playoffs started today, I would have to go Wolves.
Yeah.
Jalil? What about you, Zach?
Yeah, I said the Timberwolves.
Jalil already went. Oh, you said the Timberwolves, Jalil?
Yeah, Timberwolves.
Oh.
I'm looking at the stats right now. Jokic still is averaging like numbers that I would say that would be considered MVP caliber against Rudy. So I'd argue that Jokic is probably gonna be able to control the series a lot more than Rudy Gobert is gonna be able to stop him.
I think so. I mean, I think that's gonna happen regardless. I do think, but I still think that the other pieces, Cat's been having one crazy season. Anthony Edwards is a monster in the playoffs, so I'm going to go with them just from face value alone. We also haven't seen a lot of Jamal Murray this season either. He just got back, so it's like, from that alone, that's what I'm going to go Wolves.
All right.
All right, that leaves OKC Sacramento. I think that's a crazy series. And the next round. I'll let you start this off, Zach.
If I'm being honest, it's the Kings that are probably just going to take it. They're probably just going to run with it, if I'm being honest. Because, think about it. The opponents that they've matched up against are, dang near 10 times better than OKC. And this is in the past playoffs. If we're talking last year, Golden State from last year is better than OKC. And they held Golden State pretty easily. Or held them a lot of their games. So then the question becomes if you're matching up against OKC, who's guarding De'Aaron Fox? And then
Lou Dort.
We thinking that's gonna
Williams.
Do we think that's gonna stop?
I don't think it's gonna stop. I don't think anybody can sub De'Aaron Fox this season, but who's guarding? But who's guarding Shea?
Well, there's specific players that are meant for that. Hold up. Let me look up their roster.
I'm going to go the Thunder. Yeah. I'm going to go the Thunder, personally.
I'm leaning towards that. I feel like, this is a tough one. I feel like the Thunder has more surrounding pieces, though.
I think the defense is more favorable towards the Thunder. The stats might not say it, but having Chet down there holding down the middle with guys like Jalen Williams, Lou Dort, and Shea's not a bad defender himself either, running around. And then the man who should not be named as of right now is also a decent defender as well. So, they have good defenders around them. and good pieces off the bench, and just because of the defense, I feel like Chet Holmgren has a good matchup for Sabonis. I don't think Chet's better than Sabonis, but I feel like he's a good matchup, and I feel like the Thunder have the best player in the series. As good as De'Aaron Fox has been, I feel like the Thunder has Shai's still better, and be able to control it a lot more. But I think it'll be a 7-game series. I think it could easily go either way. I'm just gonna flip the coin and say OKC for me.
Yeah, I gotta go OKC as well.
I think if I'm being honest,
you're thinking sack for you.
The Kings will probably win the series. If I'm being honest, right now so? Kings will win, and I think the matchup that they'll go with on Chet will be someone like Trey Lyles or someone like Harrison Barnes, who's decently tall, can still shove Chet around a little bit, but at the same exact time, not really allow him to get what he wants. So that just slows Chet down.
We're not worried about Chet on offense, though.
I feel like Chet is giving Trey Lyles hell. I ain't gonna lie.
I actually think Harrison Barnes isn't a bad matchup for him, though.
Yeah, it's not a bad one, but I guess
Trey Lyles, I think he would work Trey Lyles.
But again, what Ethan was saying, I feel like this is more going to end up being first off, 7-game series. I think this would be another class. Yeah. But I feel like just defensively,
the offenses is going to carry each, and I think the Thunder are a bit better defensively.
I feel like the Chet, not because he's not going to strap Sabonis, but I feel like he can give Sabonis a hard time, no doubt.
Yeah, because the way Sabonis plays, he's like a hub, and he plays long mid-range area. Mm-hmm. But I'm not worried about Chet has the length and the agility to be able to move around and still anchor the defense while being stretched out. But yeah, that majority rule is right there. I see what you're saying about the Kings, Zach, but we got 3-1 right on OKC, so that leaves us T-Wolves OKC conference finals, and I think it's a pretty convincing T-Wolves for me.
Yeah, I got to go with T-Wolves as well.
Conference finals,
Jalil.
I want to say the Thunder, but it's the Timberwolves. Yeah,
that's fair. All right.
Yeah. It's great to see Ant and Shai go at it, though. That's going to be...
Yeah, that would be good for basketball.
That would be amazing. I would love this conference finals if it were to actually happen.
Yeah.
And majority rules there. So that gives us a Milwaukee T-Wolves finals.
That is disgusting.
That is really bad for the NBA's money. So they're probably not going to
let that for basketball.
But great for basketball.
But
they're not going to let that shit happen.
I'm going to go T-Wolves.
I'm saying Bucks, bro. Still.
Ethan's trolling right now, bro.
No, I'm not.
No, I'm not trolling. Hold up. Simple Google search. Giannis versus Rudy Gobert matchups.
I feel like it's not even. They definitely. Also, I think one thing we didn't really take into account is that they don't have the Timberwolves don't have a bunch of experience. I feel like right here this shines through. Give me
all right.
Give me Bucks. Give me Bucks in 5.
Yeah, Giannis outperforms Rudy by a long shot, and they won the game as well. This was November 4th, 2022, the 2020, 26, 14, and 11. That's without Damian Lillard versus Rudy Gobert. 7-13.
The last time they played against each other?
Yeah, last time they played each other. And Giannis had 4 turnovers, which is somewhat normal. I mean, I will say his field goal percentage was a bit low, but then again, you can't really compare that whenever Rudy Gobert only shot 6 shots and Giannis shot 17. So it's not really comparable.
The last matchup.
Plus, Giannis shot 2 for 4 from 3. So, I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think about it. What do you think about this, Jalil? I'm kind of in the middle right now.
I'm going with Milwaukee. I mean, you put Dame in the finals, I don't see him losing.
That's true. Yeah. Damn, I didn't even think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he ain't going back. If he goes, he's not going
back. I don't think he gets that close and then doesn't snap.
Yeah. All right, y'all convinced me. I think it's a clean sweep right here. Us 4 are sweeping it. I think it would be more than a 4-game series. But, yeah, I think that's where the inexperience would shine. And we'll go Milwaukee in, 5 games?
Yeah, 5. Yeah, 5. I couldn't see it going to 6.
All right.
Yeah. I'm looking at the history of Giannis's matchups against Rudy Gobert, and ever since 2017, there's only been one time where Rudy Gobert outperformed Giannis. Once.
Yikes.
And that was Giannis had 9 points and was 2 for 10, and that was like the first game they matched up. Ever since then, it's been like 33 on Rudy Gobert's head, 37 on Rudy Gobert's head, 30 on Rudy Gobert's head, 30 on Rudy Gobert's head, 35, 29, 25, 30, 26. And most of them were like Giannis had more rebounds or had like 3 or 4 less rebounds.
Yeah, now that I think about it too, I don't know how they guard a Damian Lillard and Giannis pick and roll. That's really the biggest thing. That's what's everybody's been talking about since that trade happened is Damian Giannis pick and roll. But Jaden McDaniels is a great defender, but you can't put Rudy Gobert in that pick. Rudy Gobert has to be in the paint protecting it. So somebody else, Rudy Gobert's going to be guarding somebody else.
I guess you would fuck around and run a zone, but that's the only thing they could do.
Well, what they would do is they match up Rudy Gobert with Brook Lopez, but Brook Lopez can shoot the ball.
So you can't.
So
that, really.
They're stretching it out, and so you're leaving Brook Lopez wide open for 3, and he's a plus 3-point shooter. So you don't want to do that. And you're probably having like a Jaden McDaniels. Oh God, that's not gonna be Jaden McDaniels and Cat. Jaden McDaniels on Dame is amazing. I like that.
Yeah,
you're not having a Cat being the one. Oh yeah. Milwaukee. Then
you also got Chris Middleton as well, who if they absolutely need, they can just bring him over and run pick and rolls.
Yeah. So we'll see Milwaukee pretty convincingly there. So if the playoffs were to end today, Milwaukee wins the NBA championship.
Yeah. By a coin flip.
Yes.
By a coin flip.
The coin flip.
Because
I think if the coin flip won, the Celtics would have won too.
I think Boston wins that shit too. Anyways.
But we won Milwaukee.
Yeah.
So moving on from that segment went really long, but that's okay. I figured this podcast would go a little bit long. We have a 4th person on today, so we'll move on to our last.
Let's be quick about this last thing too, because this could get a little long-winded as well.
How do you guys feel about Adam Silver?
And before we get into it, there's someone that we will not talk about. He's been in the news a lot, and we decided that for right now we don't want to talk about it until we know all the details, which is fair. I feel like
know all the details.
Journalistically, that's the right thing to do. Even though I really want to talk about it, I feel like that's definitely the right thing to do. So don't mention him.
Yeah.
But as far as Adam Silver's, the policies and everything, how do y'all feel about him?
So for preference, Adam Silver has been the commissioner for about a decade now, since 2014. So almost a decade. What he's done in this decade, okay? He has added the NBA play-in. The main things he's done. Added the play-in, added the in-season tournament. Did he change any lottery rules?
I don't think so.
The lottery rules, yes. He changed because it used to be that the top team would get 25% odds.
He changed the lottery rules, I believe.
So he did that. And then I'll go ahead and start this conversation off.
Yeah.
I like Adam Silver's ideas. I like his creativeness. I think he's brought a new air to the league. I feel like one thing we've also seen with the league is like I feel like the NBA has gone more global, and not just in the sense of like obviously the Raptors are a team, but I'm just saying like there's always preseason games played in Mexico and stuff like that, and then also like we've seen a lot more European players come into the league, and then also as far as like the in-season tournament and shit like that, that's like a European football like a soccer type of thing, Yep. One thing, but what I don't like about Adam Silver is his, not necessarily policies, but his, I guess you could say policies. I don't see how right now Miles Bridges is, if not playing right now, could play, and Ja Morant can't.
Yeah.
I feel like that is wrong. Miles Bridges beat the shit out of his wife in front of his kids. And Ja Morant listened to Young Boy. Anyways, what were you saying?
Was that proven though?
Yeah.
Was it proven? This nigga turned himself in, Ethan.
It's on audio and video.
Yeah, it's audio and video.
I didn't know. I never saw that.
What I'm saying is
27 days.
Yeah.
27 nights.
Well, but to be fair,
27 left.
He got ousted from the league.
27.
He got ousted from the league for a year.
You say you got what?
So he technically got suspended for how many games was it at the beginning of the season? Like 10 games? But
I still don't.
He was out of the league for a whole season before, and it wasn't in writing, but there was a reason for that, obviously.
I just feel like he's got to serve more of a suspension, and I feel like this should be zero tolerance shit for that. Like if it's to that level, it wasn't like he just restrained or grabbed a wrist or something. This nigga was like, he fought his wife in front of his kids, and he is still playing basketball. And then you get a situation like Ja Morant, which I know the league has an image to uphold and things of that nature. And you know, I get that. I really do. And the gun thing wasn't Ja Morant's only incident. He had a lot of different stuff going on. I understand the nuance and the severity of the situation. But I also feel like Ja Morant listened to some music and pulled out a firearm that he owned legally. And as bad as that may look on the league, he didn't do anything illegal. And I agree with this suspension, but there's no way in hell he gets a 25 gamer and Miles Bridges is still playing. I think that's wrong. And we won't get into the situation that's going on with the other guy, but I feel like they're not handing out suspensions evenly. I'll say that. And I'll let one of y'all take over now.
I mean, I think the difference between those two situations is so you look at Miles Bridges, right? Domestic violence has something that's always been happening through the league. Unfortunately, it's something that's going to continue happening through the league, right? So it's not something you haven't seen before. And also with that, Miles Bridges isn't a superstar. Miles Bridges doesn't have his own shoe. He might have like a little shoe contract, but he's not like the face of the league. Ja was kind of like starting to be set up to be the next face of the league of, you know, that new generation of him, Luka, Shea, you know, whatnot. And then so you have that. And then what hasn't happened is you haven't had the face of the league out here flashing guns in strip clubs, laying on money, flashing guns in cars, listening to violent music and everything. So while it is, you know, all technically legal, it's a bad look for the league, and it hasn't happened before with a player of his like stature. I think the closest you can get is Gilbert Arenas, you know, bringing BB guns in the locker room. So,
yeah,
I think as much as we hate to say it, if it wasn't Ja Morant, if take the Ja Morant situation, if it was somebody of a less extent on that team, if it was Steven Adams, for example, that did that. Steven Adams isn't in the league anymore.
Steve did that. Like,
we know Steven. For a second, we just take a break from the serious shit and imagine Steven Adams. It's fucking crazy.
That's hilarious. But like as much as we hate it, star players are going to have more, you know, of that leniency, you know. And I agree with you. And then, like, you know, with the guy over there in OKC, I actually kind of agree with what they're doing right now with that guy over there because nothing has happened. You know, nothing has happened. Obviously, something's happened, but nothing is. Well, imagine if they ousted him from the league or had a big suspension on him and everything that came out was false. That would look bad, really bad on the league.
But don't you think like, they could not necessarily suspend him, but just say he can't play for right now?
That's suspending him. I mean,
I guess it is technically suspending him, but like,
and imagine how the Thunder are going to feel about that. What if the Thunder, he's out, and I know he's not, you know, he's not Shea, but he's a part of that team, a decent part of that team.
But the Thunder should have to pay a penalty too because they said this shit. I hate that we're talking about this right now because we said we weren't, but they said that they've known this for a year. They should have to pay there should be a penalty for that.
I don't know. If that's the case, then who knows? But I just think that
we won't get
going
into
about it carefully.
But
yeah, but for the most,
not to talk about it anymore. But I did see Andrew Bogut, if I remember correctly, say that the situation happened in California whenever Josh was like 17 or something like that. Which is like, although it's like a really big stretch, I think it's like one of those things where there's multiple people saying a bunch of different things, and we just literally need to sit down and go, okay, here's all the information in front of us. How do we deal with this? And I think the NBA right now, they're doing their best. I mean, sure, if you suspend him, then it makes him look like he's guilty, right? And we have no clue if he's guilty. But if you don't suspend him, then okay, he's just
makes you look like you don't care about it.
Yeah, so it's like
they're in a lose-lose situation.
It really sucks, to be honest.
Yeah, it's bad. But outside of disciplinary stuff, I think the NBA is taking stuff a little bit more carefully than they used to, which in some cases is good, in some cases is bad, like you said, for Miles Bridges. But outside of that, I think Adam Silver is the better commissioner than David Stern.
Yeah. I mean,
he's actually improving stuff, and everything he's added, the in-season tournament, the play-in, very, very good. The lottery odds, I like better too. Help limit tanking a little bit more. I mean, even the play-in even more than the in-season tournament, because teams, we're seeing teams, the 10th is on each conference actually can make the playoffs, and they are actually trying to compete and trying to make the playoffs instead of bottoming out. So I like what I'm seeing, and I think Adam Silver is the best commissioner we've had.
Yeah. I have go ahead, Zach.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'd say that he is the best commissioner the NBA has seen, but just because he is doesn't mean he doesn't have flaws. Yes, he's the best commissioner we've seen, but I feel like the way that and I know that all this isn't on him, right? He's taking a lot of blame for a lot of like the decision makers, and there's legislation as far as the NBA goes, as far as like how they handle these situations. But I feel like obviously he's going to get the blame, so here's the blame. He has to do better. I feel like within their however they make their decisions, they have to be more consistent with how people are suspended and the decisions that they make.
Yeah. Fair enough. I mean, we also forgot All-Star Game. They just changed it back this year, but we had a 5-year stretch, maybe less than 5 years actually. A good little stretch of the All-Star Game being different with team captains drafting, and I think until last year it was good because we have moments, like end of games where it's very close and they actually start competing a little bit more. And then the draft process of it has always been hilarious and fun. Get the 1 year with, KD and LeBron, and KD not wanting to draft Harden because he just got traded to the Sixers. I mean, that's hilarious. That's comedy.
Yeah.
I mean, and then they're changing it back, trying to make it a little more competitive. I mean, that's cool, but there's also other stuff that needs to improve on All-Star Weekend. Like, I want the dunk contest to be good again. The 3-point contest and the skills challenge, I haven't cared for them the past couple of years either. So there's other stuff he's been working on, but my biggest thing is he's willing to make change with stuff.
One question.
He doesn't want to just
go ahead.
Yes.
One question before we wrap up. I'm sure we'll be done soon. But how do y'all feel about expansion? And what do you think we should do on that ground?
He claims they're doing it after the next TV deal, and I think I'm all for it. I mean, I'm pretty sure
we got to bring the Seattle Sonics back, bro.
Yeah, I feel like they have to. They lost so much money after all the COVID stuff, and with that, they have to expand. I hope they do it sensibly. Yeah. I know they want a team in Las Vegas as far as the green goes, but who do we move to the Eastern Conference, right? Like, how do we switch shit?
Memphis?
I guess Memphis, or it would have to be Memphis, or
Memphis is in the Eastern Conference, so Memphis should be in the Eastern Conference.
So it would have to be Memphis, but they have their own ties and rivalries and shit like that. I mean, they got to be smart about it. So we'll see.
Crazy to me though.
I definitely think they need to expand that as far as money goes, and also like you alienated a fan base in Seattle, which they had a rich history.
Yeah,
they won an NBA championship in 1979. So I mean, it's not like they were.
Yeah, I mean, they claim they're gonna be expanding after this next TV deal, which I don't remember when it is, but fairly soon. So I look forward to that because the NBA needs it. We need there's too many teams that are good nowadays. There's too many good players. So I look forward to that, and I know Adam Silver's going to make that happen. So that's another W for him. But overall, we think he's a really good commissioner, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I think there's one thing that only one thing, and it was the James Harden sort of like, if you remember, James Harden used to get fouls like crazy and would go to the free throw line, and then they introduced a rule where refs would stop calling it. I can't remember what the rule was called, but I know it was centered around James Harden and stuff like that.
Foul baiting.
Foul baiting.
Yes.
Aren't you?
And then they later changed it back, but they didn't change it back fully. They just toned it down a little bit. And I think the problem
rule changes in general have happened a lot too since he's been in here.
Yeah.
Like base rule changes.
Yeah, but I think like
the transition take foul,
I think
the
that
flopping
one
rule of this year.
There's been a lot of review rules he's added too, as far as like challenges and stuff like that.
Coaching challenges,
Yeah.
double challenge now.
Mm-hmm.
I think some of those are good and some of them are bad, but like I said, for him, my favorite part about him is he tries things. If it doesn't work, like the All-Star game, he didn't like it, he's changing it back this year. So I think because for a long time, we had the same thing every year. David Stern never really changed a lot. So, I guess in his instance, he's like, what works, but it's good to actually want to change it because that's a big, you're risking losing a lot of money. So I admire that he's willing to change some of this stuff. So I like it, and I think he's a great commissioner, and I look forward to seeing what other changes he makes in the future.
Is there anything he can personally do about the referees? Because somebody especially with tech, some of it is crazy. There is no way Jaylen Brown should get a tech when he's on the bench.
Yeah.
What he said, he's on the bench. He should not get a tech.
I mean, I don't think it's anything he can personally do. I mean, the ref just made whatever call he felt was right. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that's always going to be a topic of discussion, and I'm sure he has sit down talks with these officials and stuff like that. I'm sure he does, collectively. But at the end of the day, there's only so much he can do because they already have the best refs in the world. So it's all really about just fine-tuning little things, but stuff like the text. I mean, what can you do about that? That's a ref getting in their emotions and in the moment and is making a call. Yeah. There's nothing you can do about that. So, but yeah, that about wraps us up for the day, fellas. Bit of a longer pod because we had Zach on. Zach, thank you for joining us today.
Mm-hmm.
And we do look forward to having more guests in the future. Zach, maybe Zach will come back again in the future as well. We have another guest in the works right now. Maybe not next week, but coming here soon. And we're going to do this more often, have a little bit different perspective for y'all. We went a little bit longer today, but that's okay. We had some very good, smart, intelligent basketball discussions. So, and if y'all could, go ahead and like the video for us, subscribe if you're new. Comment down below who you think would win the championship if we ended today, how you feel about Adam Silver and how the in-season tournament ended. Boo Lakers. And we appreciate y'all for watching. So unless y'all got anything, we can go ahead and get up and out of here.
I'm good.
Shout out the Baltimore Ravens. Shout out Tylen Wallace. I love you right now.
Actually, fuck the Ravens. Actually.
Thank you so much
for
having
having
me.
me. Of course, Zach. Of course, bro. We're glad you came on, man. Well, all right, y'all. We appreciate y'all for watching. We'll see y'all next Monday. Peace.